I'm here with Lior, recent friend now in Substack. So Lior, do you wanna just introduce yourself? And I know you're on mobile. I'm gonna share your Substack channel on here
Cool.
so people have access. But yeah,
Yeah. So definitely share a little bit about myself. Um, first things first, I'm a young father, just like Joel over here. So
yep,
we have that in common already. I got a 2-year-old and a baby on the way. So basically that comes first. That's number one. Um, there's a bunch of things in between that led up to me doing Substack, but we could hop over most of it. I do have a background in physics, which I'd never used for any job. Um, and now I like to explore AI and post about it publicly.
that's awesome.
What about
Yeah,
you?
I'm a father too. I have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old. Um, Feels like I have like 6 kids, but I only have two. They may pop in here at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I really wanted to just get on here and chat with you about is just the state of AI in 2026. Not the financial state of AI, not the what's the latest tool out here. If you're looking for, what's the latest news on Elon Musk or on, it's probably not going to be the live for you. But today we want to talk about just our outlook for AI in 2026. I chatted with Leo a few times, and we have really similar views, particularly on the importance of. I really like the term human first AI, that human value has to be the center of AI use in order to remain, I think, where it needs to be. So we're going to talk about our outlook on AI in 2026. We're also going to talk about the importance of AI community. We're going to talk about a recent um, community that we just launched that we'd love all of you to be part of. And then, yeah, just learning a little bit more about whatever, uh, you know, Leor's thoughts and whatever questions you all have. So, as you have questions, please drop them in the chat. One of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to select one person in the chat who's interacted with us, and I'm going to be giving away a free annual membership to Leadership and Change. If you are already a paid subscriber, then we're just going to give you a lifetime subscription. So
Throw one in for me too.
there you go. So two people in here, you're going to get, or should we do the same person or should we do different
Let's
people?
spread the love. Do 2 people.
Okay. So interact. Two people are going to get, if you ask questions, we're going to look through the chat later and we're going to be giving away two premium memberships. So let's start with just AI in 2026. Moving to a high level, Leo, what is your, I mean, AI is just such a gamma of different opinions. It's either gonna, help the world just get into the next phase, or humanity's gonna end within 3 months. What is your AI philosophy? How do you see AI?
I mean, I think the best way to break it down, at least, if we're looking at 2026, is to look at 2025. Because I don't have a crystal ball. I could tell you, what I've seen happen and what I'm seeing happening. It's just this stuff is moving so fast. It's an exponential growth within technology that has never been seen before. Um, I think bigger than the invention of the internet
Mhm.
by far, and we're just seeing the beginning now. So I would say on a baseline kind of level, the way that I would break it down, and I've spoken about this in one of my recent articles, is um, the article is called "AI is not a tool," and basically one of the main concepts in there is how people use AI. Um, and there's three main categories, with the fourth one that I'll add in at the end that's very relevant, but we'll speak about it. So I spoke about this in my last live with Michael Simmons and Claudia Faith as well. So I'll bring it up again here. Um, the three basic usages of AI are: you have the general population, which is about 90% of people. who use it as a search engine on steroids, is the nicest way to put it.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that. I think that we'll break it down as we go. So that's the majority of the population. That's the general population. Then you have another 5 to 8% that I like to call the specialists, and those are people who build really cool stuff. To put it simply, coders, builders, businesses, entrepreneurs, all the above. And then finally, the last group. It's hard to put an exact percentage on it. I would say maybe 2 to 3%. I like to call the explorers, hence exploring ChatGPT. That basically those are the people that want to, dive down the rabbit hole a little bit there. And basically, among those three groups, there is some crossover. Generally, the 90% portion of the population don't cross over into the other two main use cases. Then you have the specialists who, like I said, are building awesome things, which I don't really do much of aside from maybe Substack. So I would consider that my sector within being a specialist.
Hmm.
So general population sticks to general population. Specialists can definitely cross over, as many people do. Sometimes you're building an amazing app, and sometimes you want to know how much protein you ate today. Um, and then the third group, the explorers, tend to cross over into all three major use cases.
Hmm.
Whether it's exploring based on your interests, based on certain taboos, whatever it may be, and building a business, building something online, integrating AI into your day job, improving the business that you work for,
Hmm.
and also counting your calories, whatever it
Yeah.
may be.
Yeah.
So, and then the fourth group is kind of a very small percentage of people that are using AI as a form of maybe filling in a gap of a relationship that they're looking for. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but it could be people that give AI a name and have conversations with them. And I think there is some crossover into the explorer section with that as well.
Hmm.
So that's basically where I see the major use cases of AI now.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. Yeah, for me, and Iverson said it here, there seems to be a great community of explorers. And it's true. Though I also kind of categorize it in my mind. The two big categories that I think are at the top are people who use AI and people who are AI averse, just don't use AI at all. Um, that is, I think every month that passes, those people are just going to be further and further away from being able to catch up with just opportunities in society. I think of, I'm also serving humanitarian aid on some of my work on the nonprofit side, and people who don't have internet, people who are just not online in third world countries, they are not able to use any of this, which weighs on me. Now, within the group that has access to AI, I think of two specific groups. One are lazy AI users, lazy AIers is what I call them. And to me, that's exactly what you were saying about Google. You're using ChatGPT because Google. You don't know if there's anything beyond ChatGPT. You just throw $20 in there, and you just ask questions, get one answer, take it away, and move on to the next thing. To me, and honestly, I don't wanna I don't wanna um just throw LinkedIn down the drain, but
Do it.
I I, I cannot stand LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a good example though of there's just so much AI slop on there. It's like a lot of people understand the algorithm, comments, posts, that's what generates engagement. And there's so much AI generated comments of people that I know you have not read any of my stuff. You're just trying to comment to play the algorithm. So lazy AIers, in my mind, are people who use AI to just think less. to not have to think critically. It just does the work for them. I agree, Everson. And the problem with that is you get to a point where you've used AI so much to do your work for you that you just stop developing as a human. Stop developing your human value, your expertise. And when you think of people who are pretty much making themselves replaceable, that's what comes to mind. The MIT study that recently came out of brain activity, it's to me it's people like this, people who are replacing their critical thinking muscle with AI. And then the people that I am trying to speak to in my audience, and this is what I'm striving to be, is I know my value. I know what my skills are. AI is able to take the things around my value that allow me to dive in a lot deeper, spend more time on the critical value pieces that I know I can add. And something I tell people all the time, if you want to know which camp you are in, look back 6 months, or if you started using AI a year ago, look back 1 year ago and say in the main skills that you care about, are you more skilled or less skilled now than you were a year ago when you started using AI? Do you think critically more? Do you still innovate? Do you still adapt? If the answer is no, then you probably need to start thinking about how to. AI is probably replacing the wrong things for you. If that makes sense.
That's a great point. That is a great point. Yeah, I mean, like when you asked the question of like, where do you see AI in 2026? In my head, the first thing was like, okay, how do people use it?
Yeah.
And you kind of went more into like the non-users versus the users versus the lazy AIers, as you mentioned. That's a really good point. I didn't really even think about it that way.
So when you think of risks of AI, uh, what comes to mind?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
I know.
Um, well, before I think too deeply into it
Yeah,
and go into like a blank where it's silent here for 5 minutes,
yeah,
I will say what you just mentioned is a big risk. It's the decline of critical thinking.
yeah,
Um, there's a lot. There's so much. I mean, I recently wrote about redundancy.
yeah,
So like where you have, you know, there's so many examples of this. There has to be some like backup, right? Like you need some human judgment to back up things, to 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 say it in a very sluggish way. Um, you if you're calling for, let's say, some customer service for some product, right? There needs to be a person behind that AI agent that's talking to you to make sure, hey, did we treat this customer properly and did the issue get resolved? Otherwise, this it just turns into a blur.
yeah,
So, like, there's a lot of, I think everything has to be balanced. So even with redundancy, especially when you're building a business, you don't want too much of it, but you need some safety backup. So I think that's another risk when everything becomes AI and
yeah,
there's not a person to talk to, that becomes an issue.
yeah. That's
So
huge.
yeah.
That's huge. I agree. I think that also takes me to opportunities that live with AI. To me, if you are able to integrate human value with AI on top of each other, that's where I see long term success, and that's probably 90% of what I talk about in my publication. And one of the one of the biggest opportunities that I've been able to find is I don't know if you've heard of the second brain system. The second brain system is essentially, and this is one of the things that I do with leaders and executives across the world, and help them take their knowledge, their style, their voice, and put it into. I like to use Claude, a Claude project that essentially turns into a collaborator where they go back and forth and are able to bounce ideas off. But doing that within human community. One of the things that I wanted to mention is Leo and I are part of a community that I co-founded in October. It's called Kazora. I'm gonna add the link on here. One of the things about AI is it is moving so fast that trying to succeed with AI in isolation is, to me, is impossible. You need to have humans around you. You need to have a community that is pushing each other, keeping each other accountable. That's why we created Kazora. So Kazora is a place where if any of you are interested, come in. You're going to get to hear from some of the top AI creators on Substack, and we're moving to YouTube and other places, and just have a live 1 hour conversation every week with a top creator on their expertise. You get to ask them questions, you get to get feedback, and talk to other people who are in similar situations. And that's where I think AI is learned the best in just in community. And as a shameless plug, if you are a premium member of Lior or of myself, you get $360 off of Kazora for a year. So if that's something you're interested in, reach out to him or I. But what do you think about AI community, Lior, and its importance?
I mean, it's
And
so
not a community of robots,
no, no,
AI
hopefully
and
not.
human community.
It's so important. I mean, I started this journey on my own, and I've come to meet a lot of great people. I just met Joel recently, and I feel like I can call him a friend.
Yeah.
It's community is everything. Not just in AI, but here we are specifically speaking about AI. I mean, you you can only learn so much alone, and like for me, for example, when I spoke about the different use cases of AI, I'm not a very technical guy, even though maybe I should be. I'm not. I don't know how to build apps and do all this crazy stuff, crazy, amazing stuff. But if you join Kazora, you got people on there that are legit, So, but you can get both sides of the spectrum. You can get them, learn how to build awesome things, or you can get me and get kind of, where I talk about weird stuff to,
Oh,
to put it nicely. Excuse my English. English is my second language. But
it is mine too.
yeah, so there's another thing in common. And I apologize. I do have a 2-year-old upstairs who's maybe throwing a fit. Um, so, so yeah, what was the question again?
Yeah, so well, talking about community,
Right.
Iverson was asking which segments does Kazora cater to? Or if you're somebody who's just wanting to, you know, use AI to make millions tomorrow, it's probably not going to be the group for you. If you're somebody looking, who understands, hey, I have these skills, I have this value, I want to future proof myself and use AI to boost my skills as they are and be able to set myself up for success. Um, going ahead and sign up for Kazora. That's the kind of people you get to commune with people across the world, Europe, Asia, United States, talk with creators, maybe even find partners for different ventures that you have. Um, there's just so much in AI that I keep learning every day, and I think that's why we both are here writing, Leo, and we're learning, and we just share what we're learning
Absolutely.
as it goes. Let
Absolutely.
me let me see some of these mentions on here. Joe, I'm a subscriber. Looking forward to setting up. Yeah, Terry, we need to connect. Um, we need to connect and talk about what's in your mind. Um, I know, Will. There's a lot of paid communities. One of the things that I have is, and Leo and I both have, is we pretty much almost all of our posts are free, and we're just trying to provide value. And then you
I
want to
will
dive deeper
say,
into that?
I
Uh-huh.
will say, I actually did change that recently.
Okay.
So and just to give a little bit of background on my Substack, I mean, technically I started in 2023, didn't like where it was going, stopped. Came back in 2025 in February and said, you know what, I'm doing this. And I do it every day, every single day. I missed one day in 2025, and that's because I had a family emergency. You know, it
You
happens.
enjoy it. So you enjoy it.
I enjoy it, but it's like I will say like even though I'm more than happy to give out free content. What I was doing for a long time was I post daily, and it's very obvious that I use AI to help me write. I've had a lot of positive, negative, all the above, people saying this is slop or whatever. But at the end of the day, even today, it's hard to know what's what. And that's why transparency is so important.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you can use an AI detector on the Bible and it'll tell you it's AI.
AI detectors.
So, I mean, it's like some of them work better than others. I'm not, here to put any of them down or anything like that. But so I post daily. For the longest time until probably last week, I one out of every four posts were paywalled.
Mm,
And recently, last week, I decided, you know what? Um, I'm going to do basically 50-50.
makes
So
sense.
you get one free one paid, take it from there. I answer every comment. I answer every comment, not AI,
Not a bot.
even if it's an
Oh,
AI
that's
comment.
awesome.
Um, and, uh, and yeah, I mean, even, and back to the community thing, the people that I've met in Kazora have been so helpful. I think there's a lot of value here. Um, and even though I'd be more than happy to teach people how I use AI, I'd also be happy to tell them how I built what I built with AI
Yeah.
and be transparent about it that way as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's you can't be everything to everybody.
Hmm.
You so if you're looking for an end-to-end workflows and how to code, and that's just not going to be me. My focus is so yeah for everybody here watching it. What I focus on is the intersection of AI and leadership. So you're a leader, not a coder, not a engineer, but you're a leader who has skills but wants to take advantage of AI for the next decade to maximize your impact. That's who I write for. So all my posts are free, but then I have all my tools, frameworks, discounts like Kazora, all of that is paid well. So that's the way we function. So before we move on to, I don't want to make this too long, but I want to get to questions of people in chat. But one question that I always like to hear, and I'll share after you, what is your AI tech stack? And especially what do you use free versus what do you pay for?
I pay for ChatGPT. I've played around with others, but I use ChatGPT every day. Hence the name of my Substack.
Yeah,
I have nothing against the other. I see sometimes a lot of posts about, this one's better than that one, or that one's better than this one, and this one's better for this, and that one's better for that.
yeah,
I do what I do. I've come to really enjoy using ChatGPT. I mean, the memory that it has built of who I am as a person and my interests is ridiculous, to say the least. To the point where sometimes, I'm questioning whether or not it has certain memory of certain conversations that I've had with it, and that's causing it to um, causing that to have an influence on future conversations. Like kind of like
makes sense.
we could mention it later if you want. I did a little more research on it, but I sent you a
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
WhatsApp late last night. I did a
yeah, yeah.
little more research on that and realized, oh wait, even though I asked ChatGPT if our previous conversations had an influence on this, and it said no, that might actually be somewhat of a lie on ChatGPT's end.
Yeah,
So it's weird. What about
no,
you?
that's awesome. So, and one of the things that I don't like about people saying this is the best AI is no, that's the best AI for you. That's the best AI for who you are. It's not a one size fits all. Um, for me, it's probably 99% of my stuff is on Claude. Um, so Claude and Claude projects are pretty much what I do everything on. I have a whole workflow. I'm currently working with people, but I use Cursor. I just redesigned my whole website. I'll drop the link on here. Cursor pretty much helped me. Any type of coding. I just use Cursor. Any type of website builds, I use Cursor. Small coding things, I use Claude and Gemini for. And to whoever said here that you have to pay for everything, I am on Cursor for free. I am on Gemini, and I use all my thumbnails on my images. I generate the prompt on Claude based on my visual guide and my colors and everything else. But my I generate all the images on Gemini. I use Notebook LN for free for research. So the only one I pay for there is um, Claude. And then to me, the most important tool in my arsenal is Whisperflow. I suffer now when I have to type more than a few sentences. I do everything on dictation. If anybody doesn't know Whisperflow, I'm dropping a link here. But Whisperflow is what allows me to sometimes go back and forth with Claude as I'm planning my posts, and I can literally just be walking all around my room. I can be doing sit-ups while I'm talking, and ideas are flowing. I don't know about you, but if I'm just sitting down, my brain doesn't work as well as if I'm moving and standing up.
Yeah, that's cool. You know what I do is I drink coffee at like, 10 p.m. and then I just lay in bed and I can't go to sleep. And then it goes. And
Oh,
then I go in my notes and I write down something, then I try to go back to sleep. And then I wake up again, and then I write something else down. And then usually that flows into the next day. But I will say that a lot of the times I think it comes with the territory of posting dailies. I can't come up with ideas all the time.
hmm,
So that's one of the most, I think one of the most efficient ways that I've learned to use ChatGPT specifically is as an idea generator. So basically,
makes sense.
like it knows my interests. It knows what my newsletter is about. And I say, hey, you know, give me a list of ideas for today. And I think one of the coolest things about it is that, there's a saying that there is no original idea. And maybe that's true, but I think there's combinations of ideas that nobody has thought of or nobody
Yeah,
has publicly written about. So, and those ideas, just as a human being, I don't care how many walks in the park you go for, you might not think of it.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, obviously, like on top of ChatGPT, I use Dolly for my image generation. And the
Hmm,
way I use that is, if I have an article title, I will say, give me an image for this article title. And as I go through my article, I usually post a few images. And actually, I found the best way to do it is to just, let's say you have a paragraph, you can actually use that whole paragraph and say, give me an image for this. And
hmm.
it'll give you a couple options. And usually they're way cooler than what you could have thought of in terms of, saying, give me an image with this lighting and that and these colors and this description.
That's awesome.
So that's what's worked for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really neat. I have a workflow in Claude about it's probably 20 pages long. Um, but it includes literally everything that I go through. So it includes SEO, it includes after we refine each one of my posts, it has all my visual guides for when I want a meme versus when I want a thumbnail versus when I want a graphic, like an infographic.
Hmm.
So whenever I ask, hey, I want an infographic on this framework to have a visual idea, it already knows to reference the infographic visual guide and have my colors and have my logo and everything.
Right. So you kind of have like a nice little, what's the word for it? Um, I don't know. Like you go on your page and it has like kind of like a theme.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right.
Try to have a visual
Yeah.
theme and try to
Yeah.
something that aligns.
So I
I,
think
I, I
that's the cool thing for me with Dolly is like it's even though you know it's just Dolly, it also still maintains that memory of what we've been doing, and so I think I kind of maintain that theme
that's
automatically.
awesome. That's awesome.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome, Terry. I was just seeing that. So I I wanna get to some questions. What kind of questions do you all have? Things that you either you struggle with or fears about AI or just you're just stuck in a rut or you have doubts about something. I'm just curious on what kind of things. While
yeah,
you add those, one of the things that I was thinking is doing a live workshop on that 20-page workflow that I have on Claude and just teaching if any of you are creators how to create your own setup. Would that be something that you all are interested in?
yes.
Okay. I may do something like that's something that can be
You
used
should.
anywhere.
You should.
ChatGPT, Gemini,
You
wherever.
should.
But
Yeah.
let me think about that.
Yeah. If anybody has any weird questions, let me know. Because I can't see the chat because I'm on mobile and I have technical
Oh, that's
difficulties.
true. That's true. Okay.
So I just see like
I'm
it pops up one at a time.
okay. So I'll read you some. I'll read you some of the latest ones. Um, Get spiced by K says Gemini Nano versus DALI versus Higgsfield or using all together depending on use. Depending on use. I've been trying to find an AI to help me create site demos, and I've only found architects. For me, I just use Cursor for demos and mock builds. One of the things I do through my coaching service is just do mocks. I'm not a coder. I'm not going to build a replica of HubSpot, but what I do is I get an idea and I create a mock and I use uh, Cursor for that. Is there a tool that you would go to if you just want to create a mock of a build of an idea?
A mock of a build of an idea.
A mock of
Uh,
an idea.
a
You got the
mock
build.
of an idea. Well, I mean, like I said, I'm a Chat GPT guy. It is what
Yeah.
it is. Like it's just I'm not shy about it. It's in the title.
Hey, I love it.
Like but
I love it.
like I mentioned earlier, like
That's
sometimes
brand awareness right there.
sometimes after a 10 p.m. coffee and I'm in bed and I'm trying to go to sleep and the ideas come. Other times, if I'm trying to generate ideas, I will use it to help me generate ideas. And
Yeah.
obviously, it knows what I like. That
Yeah.
memory is built in. So that's the beautiful part about it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. One of the I I've left ChatGPT. We broke
Hmm.
up about a few months ago. I don't
Yeah.
know, but and Kevin, yeah, Base 44 is huge. Kevin has built some really cool things. So for me, the the cool thing that ChatGPT does that I have not found a good replacement for is I have automated tasks with ChatGPT agent. So every Monday, for example, I've loaded. I don't know if you all have tried this. I've one of my posts on this, but I've loaded instructions on ChatGPT agent with a list of 6 YouTube channels that I really like that I just do not have the time to go through. And I ask it to watch the 6 YouTube channels, the videos published within the last 7 days, and summarize the top themes that are the same across all of them. And that's essentially my idea, a lot of my idea generation. So I get an email from ChatGPT agent every Monday morning with a summary of all the videos from my favorite YouTubers. And if I want to watch one of those videos, I can, but I don't have to spend 4 or 5 hours. Pretty good. I like it.
That's a great idea. I probably spend too much time on YouTube, but not for productive things.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like a side note. I'm a chess player, so a lot of times I'll
Oh,
watch
I
them.
play chess too.
Do you?
Really? Yeah.
Well, are
Look,
you play online?
do you see back there? No, you probably
No, I
can't see it.
don't.
It's
You see this?
oh, there you go.
Well, hold on. Do you play online?
I play online.
What's your rating?
Uh, uh
Well, hold on.
16, 1700.
Blitz.
Yeah, I normally don't have more time than just I got this in a recent trip in Africa.
Oh, that's
But
dude. We got to play,
my
man. You know
my
what?
game.
In front and on this Substack live, I don't. We'll say later who won, but
Yeah.
I will say I've been playing too much Bullet, and therefore
One
I have
minute.
like 27,000 played games since
Yeah.
2017. So I forgot what my Blitz rating is. It's probably like 1900. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. We need to do it at some point.
I actually played chess against ChatGPT like almost a year ago, and I made
Really.
a post about it, and it was literally just like making pieces disappear off the board,
Oh,
and like the pawn would jump across the board this way. It was funny.
that's funny.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, we have to do that at some point.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of questions on Cursor. So to me, so a lot of people in Kazora are come from a building background. They use Claude Code. I have a post that came out this morning at 5 a.m. about Cloud Code, not written by me because I don't code. Cursor to me is I've tried Lovable and Bolt are the main two. I feel like just like you can see some answers and you can say, oh, this is AI. There are some websites now that you see the website and you say, oh, that's the custom Lovable setup. So one of the things I like about Cursor is I just pull it up and I say, oh, take a screenshot of, hey, I really like this person's. I joy. I this is I built this. I redid this one actually last weekend. So I Justin Welch is one of the websites I really like the setup. So I literally just took some screenshots of different websites that I like, Adam Grant and a few others. Said, hey, I want to build this. Claude helped me with the content, but I just put it in Cursor and I said, hey, I just need to build this. And it said, launch this in the terminal. And I said, I don't know how to do that. Can you do it for me? And
It
it
did it.
pulls up my terminal and it does it. And um, so Cursor to me is if you're technical enough to use a terminal and add some coding, I heard Cloud Code is the best. I'm not there, so Cursor for me is the top one.
That's so cool, man.
Something else I'm talking about. There's important bills. Like I'm working with a client that needed a mock of a dashboard for healthcare, and I used Cursor to build it. But at the same time, my daughter, I couldn't find a good app for savings, where every time I give her her allowance, it splits it into money that she wants to save for the end of the year, spend like within the next week, and then share. So I used Cursor and I built her an app with her favorite animals, and she helped design it, and that's what we use.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's pretty cool to
That's
see
awesome.
what's
I haven't gotten to
possible.
the allowance stage yet. For me,
We'll
it's
get
more
there.
so just like how many cookies can she squeeze out of me today?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Iverson here had a question for you, Leor. How do you use AI as a tool for thought when you're thinking about strategy for your business or businesses?
Oh, okay, that's cool. So, I mean, AI is a tool for thought. So, in terms of my businesses, right? So, I obviously Substack is a business, but if we're talking about within Substack, I think I've been pretty clear about how I use it.
Hmm.
But if we're talking outside of Substack, I can go into a bit of detail there and make it brief. Um, so I have an office job, which I work 6 days a week, which allows me to also get out earlier and do more things.
And you
That
post daily.
Yeah, and I post daily.
Wow.
So basically, my office job is I work for a gas station company. It's privately owned. It's not one of these huge corporations or anything like that. We're based in New York City, and I can tell you recently what I did, which was so simple, which I think anybody can really do, and will I think increase your standing in the company that you work for, which is just and be transparent with your boss or your manager, whoever it is, and just say, hey, I want to take a look at our monthly expenses, whatever it may be. And there's a lot of monthly expenses that go into that type of situation. So without going into too much detail of the business itself, because it's not what we're here to talk about, if let's say you get an expense sheet for the business that you work for, and it's as simple as take that expense sheet, plug it into the AI that you use. In my case, it's ChatGPT, and say, find me better, cheaper options. Tell me how much money I'm going to save,
Hmm.
and that way, and not just that, it'll create a PDF document for you and with links to these products that you can get as a better deal. Now, we didn't realize this, but as soon as I put two and two together, I realized we could be saving 90% over here and 80% over there.
That's crazy.
And and this is actually January is actually the first month of that going into full effect, and we're seeing it right away.
You're seeing
Um,
savings already.
right away.
Oh,
So
that's
that's
awesome.
something as simple as that. I think it applies to
Yeah.
so many different businesses. Um, especially, I don't want to say real world businesses, but it's like at the end of the day, there's the business of necessity and the business of want. And the best businesses turn want into need.
Yeah.
But, people need, a house to live in. They need, until we go full electric with the car, they still need to put gas in their car. They still need food to eat. And, for most people that work, in a broad, spectrum of fields, you can use AI to help the business that you work for or your own personal business too.
Mhm.
So that's just hopefully a quick enough example of how I've used it, um, outside of what I do on Substack,
Yeah.
which I think goes back
No.
to that, 90% general population usage. Because at the end of the day, I could have done that work on my own. It just did it faster,
Yeah.
but there was no reason for me to spend the time doing it.
Yeah. Now, yeah, that makes sense. It's you said it earlier that AI it's even gonna be, and it probably already is more impactful than the internet, just because of the possibilities. I honestly think most people probably use 5% of, of what it can do. So talking about business specifically, I I work with a nonprofit, and there's a lot of work that we do there. We do apply AI there to just to be able to maximize our impact. So if we spend 1 hour writing a blog, I have the content team that writes it. We can use AI to see, okay, how can we reuse that piece in social media or for an ad or for different things. So there's a lot of ways, data analysis, but one of the ways that I use it personally in the past 4 months, I launched two businesses. One of them is newslettercompass.com and one is kazora.org. I'll share both links here. And I have a lot of ideas. One of my struggles is I have more ideas than I can follow up on. And one of the things that AI does is it is my master researcher. So many times I'll go outside to my neighborhood and I'll go on a walk and I'll say, okay, this is what I use Whisperflow again, and I'll just turn it on and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. There's this problem. First of all, this is how much time I have. This is how much money I'm willing to invest. What kind of competition do I have right now? What kind of opportunity do I have right now? Most people stop there. So what I do is if I have a business problem or something that I'm trying to figure out, this is what I'll start with. I'll say, hey, this is the problem that I'm having. I need you to find relevant case studies of organizations that have had a similar problem and have succeeded by solving it. And then it will throw in, okay, Microsoft did this and Habitat for Humanity did this and, Google did this. Okay, my example is more on the lines of Habitat for Humanity. So imagine these are the details of my case, apply them to the Habitat for Humanity case. How can I get to a similar solution? And all of a sudden, because immediately you have an expert in the exact area. Most people just say, hey, AI, I have this problem, give me a solution. But you don't give it the context of saying, hey, I really like the approach of Leor. I really like the approach of Joel Salinas. I really like, the humanitarian side of Habitat for Humanity, or I like the Malcolm Gladwell approach to improving myself. Apply the Malcolm Gladwell approach to help me get from A to B. The more information, because AI is an expert in every single one of those use cases, but you have to tell it what's important to you so that it knows how to help you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it's exciting, man. I think people, and that's why we're here. We're trying to show, how can people go beyond that 5% and actually use AI to solve real world problems. That's when it just really makes sense. Let me see. There's Joel Andre has a group worldwide working on a project called AutoClaw using Claw Discord channel based in Norway. I may check that out. So Fred said, "Are you using Whisperflow for brainstorming? Your results become better if you create a proper persona." Yeah. So I use Whisperflow just to capture my dictation, and then that's inputted into Claude, which actually does the analysis. Do you have any tips, Leo, on ChatGPT and what you do with memory? So how have you set up your ChatGPT instance so that you don't have to give it all this new context and all this new memory every time? How can people get
Sure.
around that?
Well, I think first things first, you go to the little settings button and you turn memory on. That's the first thing you'd want to do. Make sure you do that. Um, I think the more you use it, the more it gets to know you. And I'll tie this into again one of my recent articles that I really enjoyed, and like in this article, it's called "AI is not a tool." So basically, a tool does not know you, and that's my main explanation behind why I say it is not a tool. It could be used as a tool if you want to, hammer and nail, but that's not that's the 5% that Joel's talking about. That's the 5% usage. That's you're not getting in there deep enough, and that's what most people do, and that's fine. There's space to learn.
Hmm.
So allow it to learn who you are, and when you use it across multiple use cases, like for me in my example, I use it um, for Substack. I gave the example of how I've used it personally for my business, for the business that I work for, and 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 another one. I mean, you know, just to get a little personal here, I've lost about 50 pounds in the past year or so.
That's
And
awesome.
thank you. And it's not because of ChatGPT, right? But just like as another example, like
Yeah.
it knows that I'm concerned with my macros for the day. Making sure I get enough protein in,
Hmm.
making sure that my physical activity matches up with X, Y, and Z. So basically, it knows me. And when that memory is turned on in the settings, it'll get to know you more and more every day. Um, so basically, yeah, in terms of memory, that's basically what I
Yeah.
got for you there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's awesome. Yeah, it's to me, I wrote about this and we can end with this before it goes too much later.
sure,
And we need to do this again, Leo, at some point
absolutely,
and maybe dive into chess a little more.
definitely.
But to me, a lot of people think ChatGPT, Claude, it's magic. It's going to show up, and you're going to say, "This is my problem," and it's just going to solve it. The approach that I like to take, and especially when I talk to other leaders about this, is regardless of what you use, Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, it has the entirety of the internet behind it that it's learned, but it doesn't know you. So me coming to ChatGPT or Claude and saying, "Hey, give me the best way for me to approach this or go research this topic on astronomy in West Virginia, which is where I live." It can go do it, but the likelihood that it's going to do a good job is the same likelihood as if I brought in a 25-year-old researcher and I said, "Hey, there's the local library. I need a report on astronomy in West Virginia." And I just sent him off. There's no way that he's going to give me what I am waiting for if there is no. These are the kind of sources that I care about. This is the approach. This is the length. This is the, this is what I'm going to use it for. But most people don't think of giving that to their AI. But then they're surprised when they don't get the kind of results that they're wanting. So treat your AI as an intern, a researcher, and provide the kind of information that's going to help it serve you better. And I think you're going to be surprised with the results.
Yeah, and don't forget to say please and thank you.
One day when they get bodies and become Optimus robots, they'll come
Yeah,
after you.
they'll remember you. They'll remember that you said please.
Oh, that's awesome. Man, Leo, I really appreciate your time.
That was
And
fun.
anybody here, if anything that we said resonated and you wanna follow up a little more, just shoot us a DM. Just ask us a question, whatever you need.
Oh
We're
yeah,
we're
one
here
more
to help.
thing. One more
Yeah.
thing. Don't forget, we mentioned at the beginning of this live that we would be
Yes.
giving out some gifts. So let's do that before we leave. Let's pick who we do that for. And I can't see
Let's
the
do it.
chat, so you go
Okay.
for it.
So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna scroll through the chat, and wherever my cursor is gonna be the person that gets. Let's start with yours. It gets your free membership. Um, okay, let's see. Will Ty. So I'll take note of that one. So Will Ty will
Yeah,
get
Will
a
guys, send me a DM.
perfect.
Send me a DM and
Then
you'll get a free premium membership.
premium membership. All right, let me pick mine. I scroll. Aisha, Aisha, are you a premium member of Leadership and Change? Can't remember. Well, shoot me a DM. If you're not, then I'll go ahead and upgrade you and give you that year membership. But thanks for remembering that, Lear. Hey, thank you all very much. We'll talk later.
We'll do it again soon.